Good morning everyone, I'm John here, and today the video I'm making about is the final assessment presentation for Construction Technology 1. So, in the beginning, I'm going to talk about the case study provided. Mr. and Mrs. Philip are going to renovate their 3-story bungalow house, and their biggest concern is the foundation of their house. So, I'm here to explain the 3 main factors that need to be considered during selecting and designing the type of building foundation, and then I will propose a suitable type of foundation for this project and explain the reason of choosing that particular type of foundation. Last, I will propose a suitable material for the foundation and explain the factors of choosing that materials. And now, in my opinion, the 3 main factors that need to be considered are type of soil, cost efficiency, and the loading weight of the bungalow. In both cities and the countryside, selection of the site with the best soil is an important engineering decision. In the building process, whether you live in a house, condo, or an apartment, or also bungalow in our case study, your home is connected to the soil. So, building foundation needs to be on stable and strong soil. Soil range in strength. Some soil are able to support a skyscraper while the other soil are not able to support the weight of a human. So, if the soil under the building is not stable, the foundation of this building will crack, sink, or even worse, the building could fall down. Generally, there are 3 main soil groups in Malaysia: residual soils of granite, residual soils of sedimentary rocks, and coastal alluvial soils. Residual soils are formed from the weathering process of rocks. Granitic soils cover a large area of peninsular Malaysia, especially the hillside and the mountain range. So, the site are always be the bungalow that we are built. Granite soil also generally contain high sand content with low water content. Alluvial soil are also known as fluvial soil or alluvium. The strength and stability of the soil depend on its physical properties. However, a mixed particle size is the best for engineering and also for the foundation. Usually, the budget of the construction is the most important factor that will affect the whole project. So, every cent of the budget we need to plan and use it wisely. Means that cost efficiency is we need to propose something that is a good value where the benefits and usage are worth at the least what is paid for them. I believe that everyone have heard a word called 1,000 tals of building rise from the ground. So, a building, especially the bungalow in the case study, is very important. So, a main purpose of a building foundation is to hold the structure above it and ensure that the building remains upright. When a foundation is poorly constructed, it can pose a serious risk to the resident inside the house and also our neighbor. The larger the building, the more powerful the foundation must be. So, essential that the foundation are always taken seriously when it comes to building construction. But now we need to use the less money and create the best efficiency foundation. Moreover, loading weight is also a factor to consider while choosing a type of foundation in building. A building foundation has three crucial roles. These include supporting the load of the entire building, keeping the structure standing even when the elements are weak, and preventing the ground moisture from seeping into the building. But now, experts in construction of the foundation property says that any property must be able to withstand the dead load and also the live load combined for the entire building. The dead load is the weight of the structure itself, and the live load are the people and the object and also the furnitures, some things that inside the house. So the foundation of a property needs to be strong and firm and able to channel the entire weight of the building onto the ground. If the building is being built on a sloping area or on moisture ground, especially the bungalow beside the mountain or maybe beside a river something, then the foundation must be customized and to ensure that it remains as durable as necessary. Furthermore, a building foundation are also categorized into shallow and deep foundation. The shallow foundation, such as strip foundation, trench foundation, pad or insulated foundation, rough foundation. Otherwise, the deep foundation is the pile foundation. So now, let me briefly talk about strip foundation. Strip foundation is used to provide continuous and horizontal support bars for the linear structures such as wall and also column placed above it at the center. And then for trench foundation, it can provide laying a concrete in a trench almost completely and also pour a concrete within 150 mm on the ground of the height. And then this type of trench foundation can minimize the amount of using excavation work required because brickwork or bricks can be built without bricklayer entering the trench. And then for the insulated foundation, is commonly a shallow foundation too, in order to carry and separate concrete load caused for the example by column and pillar. Padded and insulated foundation can consist either reinforcement and non-reinforcement materials. For reinforced footing, however, the height of the footing must be bigger in order to provide the necessary spreading of load. And last, rough foundations, as rough footing or mat foundation, are formed by reinforcement concrete slab of uniform thickness, typically 150 mm to 300 mm, that cover a wide area, often the entire footprint of a building. The spread of the load imposed by a number of columns and wall over the area of foundation can be considered to float on the ground as a rough float on the water. That's why it's called rough foundations. For the deep foundation as pile foundation, they are formed by long, slender column bar, typically made from steel or reinforcement concrete, or sometimes also timber. A foundation is described as pile when its depth is more than 3 times of its breadth. Pile foundations are principally used to transfer the load from the superstructures through weak, compressible strata or water onto stronger, more compact, less compressible and stiffer soil or rock at depth, increasing the effectiveness size of foundation and resisting horizontal load. they are typically used for large structure in construction soil that are not suitable to prevent exclusiveness settlement. So here we are not recommend for using PAL foundation because of the cost and also other reason I will state it later. Now I'm going to talk about my recommendation of choosing the types of foundation. My recommendation on the foundation is rough foundation because it can be fast and inexpensive to construct because as I mentioned before, the cost also very important factors that we need to consider before choosing a type of foundation. And then as they do not tend to require deep excavation compared to strip or pad foundations. Last, it uses less material and then it will also help us to lower down the cost and then because they combine the foundation with the ground slab. That's why the cost on the foundation, also the ground slab will decrease. And otherwise, some of the other foundation has its own disadvantages, such as pile foundation. While piling, it maybe will disturb the neighbor and also cause damages for the neighbor house, such as makes the wall crack or something else. Maybe other damages will have a lot of argument. And then for trench foundation, the disadvantages are difficult to predict the amount of concrete required on the loose ground. If the ground is loose, then it will maybe too much or too less of concrete will be poured. And then the disadvantages for the pad or insulated foundation are it is unsuitable for the bearing or wind spread loads. In addition, we are still going to discuss about the materials of the foundation. Normally, there are three types of materials are commonly being used as foundation that are timber, steel, and concrete. The properties of timber are non and electricity or heat conductor, highly constable, hence burns quickly, varying weight in different sorts of wood means the weight of the timber is unstable, solid, and non-renewable source of energy. And then for the steel are high thermal expansion, high density matter, heavy weight, and rough surface area and last durable. And then the concrete properties are high mechanical strength, high durability, high porosity and density, fire resistance, thermal and acoustic insulation properties, and impact resistance. So the material I propose for foundation is concrete because the timber and the steel foundation have some deadly disadvantages. The disadvantages of timber are brittle and erosion. The reason above will increase the risk of the house collapse after some period of use. In the other hand, timber will also easily termites and cause dangerous effects to the house owner. The disadvantages of the steel is high cost of transportation, high expansion rate in changing temperature, low fire resistance, and time consuming in terms of construction. It will extra the cost while building the bungalow. So, as I mentioned, cost is the one of the factors while choosing the type of foundation. So, we choosing steel foundation will cost become higher compared with concrete foundation. Finally, thank you for you all for attending time for my presentation.